Good morning, my dear students. I hope you had understand the first part of the story, the portrait of a lady. Let us go to the second part. Okay. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. That was a turning point in our friendship. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in the motor bus. There are no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrow in the courtyard of the city house. So now at the last we had explained about how together they had lived in the village and how happy they were. They went to the school together and they feed the chapatis to the dogs, and they both are together. Now their life, there is a turning point in their friendship. What happened? When my parents were comfortable settled in the city, they got settled in the city, they sent for us means they called them to the city. That was a turning point in their friendship. Their friendship had a turning point. What's happened? Let us see. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to the school with me. Now they are living in the same room, but the grandmother can't able to go with the Arthur to the school because the Arthur school is very far. It may be reason. I used to go to the English school in a motor bus. So he is not going to the school by walk. It's so far, so he is going by motor bus. As well as the school is English school. In village, we had described that he is studying in the school which is attached to the temple, and the priest is a teacher there, and he is teaching the alphabets and the morning prayer. Here he is going to the English school. It is so far, so he can't able to take the grandmother with him to the school. So he is going to the English school in the motor bus. And there was no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrow in the courtyard of our city house. So in the village they had shared the food with the dogs. She had taken the thin slates of chapatis to the dog, and she will give it to the feed to the dogs. In the streets in the city there is no dogs in the streets. So grandmother, what she is doing, she is feeding for the sparrows in the courtyard of the city house. In the courtyard means வீட்ல உள்ள முற்றம், porch we used to say, no, வீட்ல அந்த வெளியே இருக்கிற space தான் அது courtyard. So she is giving them. She is ready now. She is feeding the sparrows. As the year rolled by, we saw less of each other. So the years are passing on. They can't able to spend the time together. They can't find time to see each other. So the years are passing. He is growing and he is busy in his studies. For some time she continued to wake me up and get me ready to school. She is continue as what she is doing in the village. In city also she started to wake him up, and he is making him to ready to the school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. So after he comes from the school, the grandmother is asking what the teacher had taught him at the school. I would tell her the English words and the little things of the Western science and the learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principles, the world being round, etc. So what are the things he had studied in the school, he is reciting to the grandmother, like the English word, what he had studied, and the law of gravities and the science, the Western science, all the things, whatever the things he had studied in the school, he is telling to the grandmother. The world being round, etc. So he is telling the world is not. In the olden days, we have a belief that the world is flat in shape. So after that invention, few invention we had find out the world is not a flat, it is round in shape. So now he is explaining the world is round in shape, and the principles of the Archimedes principles and some laws of gravity, Western science, English words. What are the things he had studied in the school, he is reciting to the grandmother. This made her unhappy. She was not happy by knowing what the author is studying at the school. She could not help me with my lesson. She can't able to help him in his studies. She did not believe in the things that taught at the English school was the distrust that she was no teaching about the God and the scriptures. So here she was disappointed because in the English school where the author is studying, there they are not teaching him anything related to the God and the scriptures. So she was not happy, and this makes her too distressed. One day I announced that we were being given the music lesson. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She rarely talked to me after that. So one day the author had announced her grandmother that they had in the school they had taught him the music lesson, but she had not said anything. That by her silence he come to know that she had not it meant disapproval. She did not like to listen what he is telling. It's not make her too happy. So she rarely talks to me after that. So from that day onwards she is not talking to him very much. Simply she will talk very rare words. If she need anything, only she will talk, otherwise she won't talk. She is silent. When I went up to the university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of the friendship was snapped. Now what happened? The common link of their friendship, the only thing, they are living in the same room. When he went to the university for the higher studies, what happened? Even their parents had given him a separate room. So now their friendship had broken. Snapped means friendship was broken. My grandmother accepted her seculations with resignation. Seculation with resignation means she had accepted the loneliness because of some reason. That is a acceptance of her seculations with resignation. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by the wheel spinning and reciting the prayer. So from morning to evening, the only thing what she is doing, she is spinning the spinning wheel. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for the while to feed the sparrow. While she sat in the veranda breaking the breads into the little bits, hundreds of little birds collects around her, creating the veritable bedlams of the crippling sum. So the bedlams of the crippling, it means the noise, the various of noise which is made by the birds. Okay, so the only thing, she in the afternoon only she is relaxed and sitting at the veranda, and what she will do she is feeding for the sparrows. She is feeding the little bits of breads to the sparrows. Some came and preached on her leg and another on her shoulder. Some even sat on her head. She smiled but never smoothed him away. So some preached on means some comment, the birds will sit on their shoulder, some on her leg, and she will never smooth them away. It means she is not driving the birds to go away. So simply she will smile and she watch what the sparrows are doing. It used to be the happiest half hour of a day for her. So she used to be happiest. So she is happy for half hour of a day for her. So half an hour she is always used to be very happy because of the feeding to the sparrow. This makes her to relax of her whole routine life. When I decided to go to abroad for the further studies, I was sure my grandmother could be upset. I could be away for 5 years, and at her age once could never tell, but my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station, but did not talk or show any emotion. So he had decided to go to the abroad. Already we had studied, he was studied in London as well as in Delhi. So he had decided to go and continue his education in London. So at the time, because after 5 years only he can able to return back. So at this age no one will accept that its grandson to go to the abroad, but she had not even say single word, and she had not shown any emotion. Simply she had not said. She went to the railway station to bid him farewell. Her lips moved in the prayer in her mind and was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy in telling the beads of her rosary. Silently she kissed my forehead. When I left, I cherished the moist imprinted as perhaps the last sign of the physical contact between us. So because the author had already known her for 20 years, he had said now he had grown up and he is going to the abroad for his higher studies. So even it has raised for 5 to 10 to 15 years. So you have to imagine how old she was. And now the author is going to the abroad. At the time she had not shown any emotion, she had not refused him to go. Simply she went to the railway station and sent him the farewell. At the time she had not said anything, simply she is busy in telling the prayer, the beads, she is counting the beads on the rosaries, she is telling the prayer in her mind. Already he had explained how she will explain, she will do the prayer, inaudible prayer. Inaudible means we can't able to hear what she is telling. So at the time of the leaving, the grandmother had kissed him at his forehead. So the moist imprinted as, it means the moist in the lip, it was imprinted on her forehead. ஏன்னா நம்ம வாயில் அந்த ஈரப்பதம் இருக்குல்ல அது இதில் பண்ணும்போது அதான் the moist imprinted as her forehead. So he is thinking that it perhaps means even all இது இருந்த போது it may be. So perhaps at the last sign of the physical contact between us, he is thinking it may be the last physical contact between us. So after 5 years, what will happen to the grandmother, he don't know. He is not sure that she will be alive or not. So at the time he is thinking, while leaving he is thinking it may be the last physical contact between they both. But it is, we will see what will happen at the end. But that was not so. It was not so. After 5 years, I came back home, was met by her at the station. She did not look at a day older. She still had no time for the words. And while she clapped me on her arm, I would hear her reciting her prayer. Even on the first day of my arrival, the happiest moment were with her sparrow, whom she fed longer, and the ferocious reports. So after 5 years, he had returned back to the home. At the railway station, he is meeting her. She did not look a day older. As what he had seen 5 years before, she had the same physical appearance. She had not even changed. Single changes are there in her physical. So she was as it is. She still had no time for the words, and while she lapped me in her arms. So she is without talking anything, simply she is hugging him in her arms. I could hear her reciting her prayer. He can able to recite what she is telling. அப்படி கட்டி பிடிக்கும்போது என்னது, he can able to hear what she is reciting as a prayer. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moment were with a sparrow, whom she fed longer with the ferocious rebuks. So the only happiness from the day he arrived, from that day onwards, he is watching the only happiness in her life is the feeding to the sparrow. So how she is, whom she fed longer and with ferocious rebuke. Rebuke means திட்டுறது. Ferocious rebuke na செல்லமாக திட்டுறது. சரியா? not scolding. Rebuke means ferocious rebuke means hey அங்கே நிற்காத இங்கே நிற்காத அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம்ல. Likewise, she is playfully, joyfully she is scolding the sparrows. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. So on that day evening, there is a change in her behavior. Or what is her routine work? She won't speak even a single word. Simply she will do the prayers. She will say the prayers by using her rosaries. So that particular day evening, what happened? There is no change in her behavior. There is a change in her behavior. She had collected all the women in her neighborhood. She had collected all the women, and they started to and taken on an old drum, and they started to sing a song. For several hours, she dumped the sagging skin of the dilapidated drum. Dilapidated drum means the not in a good condition. அப்படின்னா ரொம்ப பழமையான பாழடைஞ்ச ஒரு drum. சரியா? She is dumping that. Slacking skin means sacking means அப்படி நல்ல சுருங்கி போன ஒரு தோல் தான் அந்த sacking skin. We will make the drum with the use of the skin of the animals, cow or anything. So she is dumping that drum for the several hours. and sang of her homecoming to the warrior. So they are singing the song about the homecoming warrior. The warriors they will fought very bravely in the battlefield. While they returning to the home with the victory, at the moment what the people will do, they will sing a song of praising the bravery of the people. The same way, because he had returned back from the abroad, he came back, and the safe returning of the grandson, she is singing the song as all the people in the olden days, they will sing the song of the returning of the warriors. We had to prelude her to stop to avoid overstrain. That was the first time since I have known her that she did not pray. The first time in his life he is seeing that the grandmother had not prayed on that particular day. The next morning she was taken ill. The next morning what happened? She became ill. It was a mild fever, and the doctor told us that it could go. So she have a mild fever, and the doctor came and examined her, and doctor said she will get all right. It would go means the fever will get, or she will get all right. There will be reduce in the temperature and she will get all right. But my grandmother thought differently. She told us that she end was near. So the doctor said she will get cured very soon, but she had the thought of the grandmother was changed, and she called all, and she told that she was near to the end. End means she is going to pass away. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life she had omitted to pray, she was not going to waste any more time talking to us. So why she is telling the reason why she had not said the prayer on the particular day, because she is started to omit of prayer because she is going to die. So at the time she don't want to waste her time by talking to others also. Even she had not said any prayer on the day. She was very calm and she was under fever. The temperature was high, and she is thinking, and she called them and she told that she is going to pass away. We protested, but she ignored our protested. Protested means they are refusing. They are telling, no, you will get all right. But she said, no, she know very well that she is going to die. She lay peacefully in the bed, praying and telling her beat. Even before we could suspect, her lip stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless finger. So on the bed, even she is lying on the bed at the last moment, also she is telling the prayer using the bead. And what happened? They are not think that her life may end very soon. Before that, what happened? The rosary in her lifeless finger. Lifeless finger means she was passed away. Already she was passed away. So the rosary fall down. The peaceful pallor spread on her face, and she knew that she was died. So the peaceful pallor means the face, her whole physique had changed pale in color. That is pallor. Unhealthy pale means if we passed away, what happened? The blood will not circulate in our body. It will clot, and our body will not have the same color what we are having. It will turn into pale grey color or pale color. It's lifeless. It shows that is a lifeless. We lifted her off the bed, and as if customary, laid her on the ground and covered with a white straw. Straw means nothing. It is a piece of cloth which will help, which they use to fold the dead bodies. That is, in our area we will fold with white color. Their custom, according to their customary, they will cover the dead body with a red color cloth. After a few hours of the morning, we left her alone to make arrangement of the funeral. In the evening, we went to the room with the crude structure to take her to the Samacheer. So they are taking the stretcher. So what they did, they had taken the grandmother from the bed and make it on the ground, and they had covered her with a red color cloth. And in the evening, what they have to make her to burn the ceremoniated her means erikano. So what they are doing, they are taking the stretcher. Stretcher means rude stretcher means the small in term used to carry the dead body, padai. That is a stretcher. Here, not a hospital stretcher. The stretcher means it will tie with the 4 sticks parallelly. They will place the dead body. So they are busy in making that, and they are going to take her dead body away. The sun was setting and had lit her room and the veranda with a blame of golden light. The sun was setting, it means it's going to become evening. So how the room is, the room was blamed with a golden light. So you had all seen, you might had seen the sunset, how it makes the area to be yellow in color, yellowish color. The likewise golden color. The light of the sun, the shine is spreading on the veranda as well as the room in a yellow color. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, all over the veranda and her room, right up and where she lay dead and still wrapped in the white thread. Thousands of the sparrows sat scattered on the floor. There were no chirping. So there, what happened? All the thousands of sparrows are sitting there, the place where they had kept the dead body of their grandmother on the ground. All the sparrows are sitting, and there is no sound. The birds are not making any sound. It is very silent. It shows that even the birds are mourning for the death of the grandmother. We felt sorry for the bird, and my mother fetched some bread for them. So now because the grandmother is not there, they had no food for the sparrow. So Arthur's mother started to fed for the sparrow. What happened? She broke into the little crumbs the way of my grandmother used to throw it to them. So how the grandmother used to feed the sparrow, likewise the mother is also breaking the breadcrumbs and she is spreading on the ground. But what happened? Let us see how the grandmother is using the same way his mother also did. The sparrow took no notice of the bread. Then when she carried my grandmother crop off, they fell away quietly. So what happened? They had taken the body of the grandmother away. Then all the sparrow, without taking even a single piece of bread pieces, they are flew away. The next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So the next morning, what happened? The sweeper came and he had cleaned the room, and all the breadcrumbs are put it into the dustbin. So when we show love on even for the animals or birds, they also will show the same love and affection to us in reciprocal. So for the animals, even for the animals we are showing love. In modern days, we are not showing that, we are not giving that much importance to the human beings. So love the people, those are around you. Okay, my dear students, you go through the lesson for your better understanding, and if you read 1 or 2 times, you will understand very well. Here the author had not used any tough word, hard words is there. It's a very simple words he had used, and he had explained what are the daily activities, routine activities which is happening in our life. Thank you, my dear students. You go through the lesson and write the summary of the story. Thank you.